name is Leroy Blevins. Welcome to Mysteries and Histories. In this episode here, what I like to do is I want to talk about one of the images that they took of a Bigfoot track at the Bluff Creek area of 1967 from Roger Patterson's film site. Now, what people don't know is when they look at these images, they say, hey, these are real Bigfoot, tracks, and they also made cast prints of these tracks and stuff, and they're claiming that they're real. But what I did was, in my research, is like I said, I put everything to the test and stuff. So I looked over the images myself. Now, this is the image I'm going to pull up here that we're talking about, and that I'm going to talk about in this video is this image here. Now, the image was taken by Robert Lyle Laverty. The image was taken on October 21st, 1967 at the film site where Roger Patterson filmed his Bigfoot, which would be a day after he filmed the Bigfoot. They took these images. Now, Randy DeHenden was there as well because Randy DeHenden's pipe can be seen in some of the images, but we're going to just talk about this one right here. Now, when I went over this image, okay, I colorized, as you see, the colorized version, and this is the black-white version that they took. Now, as we see, this is the left footprint of Roger Patterson's Bigfoot that he claimed that he made these cast prints at the film site. Okay, now as we compare Roger Patterson's cast to one of these footprints that they claim Patty made, and then we have the cast that Patty supposedly made, when they made the film, they're two different types of feet. Okay, we could tell this by the bottom. Roger's is more wider, and in the footprint that's in the sand, in the image we see it's shorter. It's more thinner. Same as up above, where the ball of the foot is and stuff. That's even smaller, but Roger Patterson's is wider. The lines of the toes comes more looped downward. His doesn't. It just comes down a little bit, and that's it. This cast print does not match this Bigfoot track here, but they claim both of these are from that same creature that they filmed in the film. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you that this image here is actually a fake footprint. Now when we look at this image, remember, when people researches this image, they're looking at the print itself. Okay, me, I look at the print, I look at the surroundings and everything else, and there's some things that stands out even in the footprint and in the surroundings. It's not lining up. But before we get into that little part, I want to ask this one question that no one has the answer to. Roger and Bob was the only one there. Roger Patterson, Bob Gimlin. They filmed this creature at the film site in Bluff Creek area. Okay. Now, Roger Patterson, Bob Gimlin supposedly left in the middle of the night. Supposedly. But here we have images taken at nighttime, basically within the morning hours, supposedly. And Roger and Bob left Bluff Creek area because it said it's pouring down and rain. The water was rising and they didn't want to get stuck there, so they took off, But here we see one of these Bigfoot prints, and this image was taken a day after. This is after the rain and everything else. How did Rennie DeHenden and Mr. Laverty, and I think, okay, I know he was at the store with them, but Jim McLaren, how did they know where this film site was taking place? Only one knew that location was Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin. But here's Rennie DeHenden and them, which is in that same location within that day period. Okay, because remember, he made them calls that night. And if Rennie DeHenden was already back in Canada, how did he get from Canada to Bluff Creek within a few hours? Think about that one. Because he was at Al Hodge's store the next morning with Jim McLaren, and they both took off and went to Eureka, California, and was at Roger Patterson's brother-in-law's house before even Roger got there. Okay, because the first people that viewed that film, which I'm going to go into another video of who all view that film and how they, how these stories don't line up. But this Bigfoot track here we have an image that they don't even know how, I don't know how they got to the location because no one knew where they filmed that, just Roger and Bob. But it ends up that Renee DeHenden knew where it was at because him and Mr. Laverty and stuff went there and took these images. And as you see, they're still freshly made. There's no raindrops or anything distraught in it or anything else. They're still freshly made tracks. Now, when I look at this track, there's a few things that stands out. So what I'm going to do is I took that image and turn it to a negative. As you see here, in the heel, there's compressed ridging. Okay, compressed ridging is something that's being pushed down and pushed down and pushed down and pushed down. That's how we get the ridging in the heel. It should, if it was a regular footprint, it's only one motion, in and out. You know, that's down and over, and that's it, down and over, one motion. But there's actually 5 layers of compression here. Now, as you point up here, here's a diagram I've done. As you see the heel, if it was a heel mark, it would be rounded off right here. But it's been pressed down, okay, for ridging. And the only way you do that is if you take a cast print, which is only a certain amount thickness, and you press down on it, you get that ridging because it's pushing that cast this way. It's not going a solid cast down, it's pushing that cast like this. So what we do here is, I see it like this. Okay, they rolled a tire over it, which gave it that compressed ridging because it's pushing that cast as it's rolling, and it puts that crease in the center of the foot as we see in the image itself. So it's like this, rolling over it. Now a lot of people say, no, they didn't have a car to drive it. It's not a car. You can even take a regular tire, have a piece of pole or a piece of wood sticking through it, and one guy on one side, one guy on the other side, and they can roll it over that print. Now, to back up that theory, people call things theory and stuff, but to back up the theory, this image actually tells us this. Because as you see the compressed ridging supposedly in the middle of the foot, not the ridging, but the break in the middle of the foot, we can see there's cracks in it, and there shouldn't be no cracks in it. Okay, which I'm going to pull this image back up so you can see it when not the negative. But see how we got these cracks in there? It shouldn't be there. Plus we see that how this tree stem, this little tree branch thing sticking up, this little twig, I'm going to say a twig, sticking up and it's pushed over now. And as you notice that the back foot is not lined up with the front of the foot now because it's been pushed over. So it's like the creature either had to walk this way, step down, and turn his foot as it's doing because the print itself is shown has been turned. Now, as you see in the image, these little twigs laying across here, they're bowed. They're bowed. Both of these twigs are, these little twigs are bowed right in front of the cast print. I mean, right in front of the print, excuse me. And also, as we see over this print, we see a tire track. Okay, there's a tire track ridge coming up this way, and there's a tire track ridge coming up this way. So basically someone rolled something over a footprint, okay, excuse me, like a fake foot. They put it on the ground, one guy on one side of the tire, one guy on the other side of the tire, and he rolled it to give this 1-inch compression into the dirt or the mud or the sand. There's a tire track. When you look at this image, we can see this, which watch my cursor. Okay, I'm going to start up here. See this right here? See this ridge right here? And as we start back over here, we'll see that ridge coming up through here. Okay, that is a tire impression mark. Now they could use a ball tire because I've seen this done before, where actually I've seen someone took a big tire and they actually nailed a Bigfoot, fake foot, Bigfoot foot on the bottom, and they did one on the top, and then they did that same thing. They did that same method, and they rolled it one shoe, they come around next shoe, so forth and so forth, well, so on and so on, that it gave a big gap in between the steps, but it also shows fake footprints. Okay, but they said it was real, but I seen it was fake because you can see that tire track in between the compression like you see here. No one looks at this, okay? That's why I said, if you look at the surroundings can tell you a lot. This is not a real footprint. This is actually a fake one, handmade. Someone made a Bigfoot foot. They set it on the ground, and two guys rolled a bald tire, which is easy to do, bald tire over that cast print with their weight pushing down. That'll make it more deeper for them to make this print. And we know there was a tire track over this because we can see that tire track impression right here, which I'll even pull up this one here. This is the negative one again. We can see this tire track on this side, and we can see it going back up on this side. That's a tire impression. We also see it rounded off here and rounded off up through here. And we see it when they put this cast print on there, they put this fake footprint against the ground. And when they roll that tire over that print, that's how we got the ridging in the back of the heel. This is how this part of the foot is over here, and then the top part of the foot is over here. It's been pushed over, and that's why we have this twig right here that's sticking up, covered partially with sand on the bottom, and then the rest of it bending over, is because of that tire being pressed together, and it's actually pushing that dirt or sand as well to cover the bottom. If it was a natural footprint, this might be broken over, but it's not broken. It's been pushed to the side. We should not see these track marks and over these prints, which is someone someone rolled something there, but then they turn around and that Bigfoot was walking right in that tire track, basically. But we see this rolling. We see it buckled and rolled here, and it's rolling this twig here. We see it rounded off on both this one and this one. We see a tire print right on this side, which is one side of the tire, and on this side tire, which actually looks like I would say a size 16 inch tire that made this rolling over this cast. So you see the Bigfoot prints, and that's why I said right here, if you have one person on one side and one person on the other side, we're going to get a roll on that, and that's how we got that impression in the center and to the sand. That's why it went down so deep, 1 inch, because of the weight of two men on one side, one on the other, and he rolled it over. That's why the print was more or less like down, but then it went over, and that's why you see this side of the foot more higher, and this is more deeper on this side, as you see in the print, which we'll see it's more deeper on this side, but it's more raised up on this side. That's because that cast was that print, that Bigfoot shoe, I want to say shoe, was pushed over when they was rolling a tire over it. So right there is evidence, shows you that's not a real Bigfoot print. And like I said, I'm going to make another video talking about how they knew where the film site was. How these people knew where the film site was when Roger Patterson or Bob Gimlin never took them there. Okay, they never specifically, but Jim McLaren knew how to get to that film site. John Green knew how to get to that film site. Randy D. Hendon knew how to get that film site. But Roger or Bob never showed them where that film site was at. Think about that one. Thank you, and don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. And I want to make a couple more videos here. And have a good night.